Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video going over the file manager that I use, Ranger. Now Ranger, let me zoom in here for you a little bit. Ranger is a terminal-based file manager, so there's no GUI elements to it in any way, shape, or form. It allows you to navigate this using Vim Key Bindings and other sensible things that make it really quick and easy to jump to where you want to go and do whatever it is that you need to do. I was going to include this in a future video I was going to make, but I decided that it deserved its own separate video because of how much it can do. So to start off with, let's go over the various key bindings that you have. So as I mentioned, you have all these standard Vim key bindings. So you can do capital G to go to the bottom of the list, GG to go to the top. If you wanted to select something, you can hit V and then go through and select everything that you want. Hit escape and then it gets rid of that. If you wanted to only select every other thing or only a few things at a time, you hit V twice and then you can go in and select individual things as you see fit. Hold on a second, let me clear out of that. Then if you wanted to go in and navigate it, you can use a regular Vim key bindings, J, K, H, and L, or you can use the arrow keys up, down, left, right. Right obviously goes into whatever directory you're hovering over, and then left exits, goes back one directory. You can also set bookmarks for various things. So like let's say I wanted to have a bookmark here for grub. I can hit M, the key M, and then whatever key after that to set the key binding, and then to access it later I hit either the single or double quotation key. I think it would be the single quotation, and then you see the list of all the bookmarks you have. So for example, capital G goes to my Git directory, lowercase d goes to downloads, capital D goes to documents, H goes back home, and so on and so forth. You can set those for whatever it is that you see, however you see fit. If you want to copy something from one directory to another, that's really easy to do. So if we go here to a nice little text file that I use for a lot of different things, you do Y for yank to copy, and then if you wanted to go over to say downloads, and copy in here, PP to paste it, and then it's right here. To cut, you simply do D, and then you go over to back to wherever you wanted to put it, and then PP, and then it pastes it. So there's copy for YY and cut for DD. And if you wanted to delete a file, you do Shift D, hovering over whatever file you want, and asks you if you want to delete it. You hit Enter, and it gets rid of it. If you wanted to say, I'm gonna make a copy of this a few times, and let's say I wanted to get rid of all these files, well, you can use V to select multiple files, and then while your cursor is hovering over at least one of the files that you selected, hit Shift D, hit Enter. It will ask to confirm that you want to delete all these files, and hit Y, and then it deletes them. What else do I want to show you? Oh, you can do search here. So you can do / and search for something. So if I wanted to do about, it will take me there just like it would in Vim. And I think that's everything, at least the basics of how you navigate around Ranger. The reason I use this over a graphical file manager is just how quick it is, right? I can jump to whatever directory I want really quickly. I can copy and paste things from one directory to another. It's seamless, it's easy, and because it uses Vim Key Bindings, it's even easier to remember how to navigate things. Actually, there was one other thing I wanted to show you, and you can actually create various tabs. So you just, in my case, I have it set for Control N to create a new tab, or Control D to delete the tabs. If you wanted to cycle through them, you do, here, let me create a new tab to show you. You do Tab to cycle through it, and then Shift Tab to go back. You can kind of go back and forth on that. And again, Control D deletes the tabs. So you kind of have everything that you need here. There's more to this than just that. For example, if you wanted to go into a terminal within downloads, I have it set for TT, which opens up a terminal, and for me, it shows this weird error, but for you, it might not. And then it brings up the terminal with what directory you're in. Then to leave it, just do Control Q, or you should be able to do Control Q. Oh no, I'm sorry, exit. And then you go back to whatever file you're in. If you wanted to, let's say we're going to go to my neovim directory, init.vim. If you're in a program like Vim or htop or what have you, and you want to leave this and go back to Ranger, Control Q will take you back. So you can also easily rename files. So if we go back to documents here, let's say I wanted to rename this, so you can do lowercase rr to rename the file, and it automatically stops at the file extension, and then you can go back and name this test, hit enter, and then it renames it. If you wanted to just rename the whole thing, you can do Shift RR and rename the whole file. So then if I wanted to do test.pdf, I could do that, and it renames it to it didn't rename it to a .pdf, it did become a PDF, but you get the point, right? That's how that actually works. So if we go back and rename it again, we can do about, if I can spell correctly, txt, hit enter, and then it's back to where it was. So again, really quickly, easy way to rename files, either by keeping the file extension with just lowercase rr, or renaming the whole file, including the extension, with Shift RR. There is one more thing I want to show you here, and that's built-in Fuzzy Finder. So let's say you're wanting to look for you're in your home directory and you wanted to look for a specific file. Like let's use let's use package build. Let's use package build as an example. All you would have to do is do Control F, which brings up Fuzzy Finder, PKG, hit enter, and it jumps right to it. So you don't even have to know what you're looking for. You can use Fuzzy Find like you do in Vim to access things easily here in Ranger. So if I'm in my config directory and I wanted to look for my kitty.conf file, I can just do Control C and then kitty.conf, hit enter, and it jumps right to it. So let me actually now go in and show you the configuration files for Ranger. So if we go in and we search Ranger in .config, you will see a few different things. There, you can add plugins if you want. So for example, I have Ranger Zoxide, which allows you to hit Z. At least it should, but I have it set for something else. Allows you to jump to whatever place. So if I do Z and then ACC, it will jump to ACC 201, similar like what it does in the terminal. If I did Z, it takes you back home, or it takes you actually back to where you were previously. So it's kind of quite nice. And then the Fuzzy Finder is what I showed you earlier. It's a really neat way to be able, at least Fuzzy Find and Zoxide are plugins you can add. You can add more to them if you want. There are essentially two files here that you need to be familiar with when dealing with Ranger. The first one is rc.conf. What this does is allows you to set the various settings that you want for Ranger. So you can have it show hidden files. You can have it show hidden files in bookmarks. So for example, let me quit out of here. If we quit out and go back into my marks, and call marks, I'll call them bookmarks, it shows hidden directories. However, if I had this set to false, it wouldn't show them. There are several other settings here that you can set. crap ton of settings, and I'm sure there are more that you can even add to this, but I kind of just left it as is. Mouse enabled, so I think that works pretty well. So we do Control Q and I double click on it. Yeah, so it automatically jumps to it. It doesn't load into the file for you, but you can kind of click around as you see fit. It kind of works, but kind of doesn't. The point of this is to use your keyboard, so I actually never even used that before. I was kind of just testing it here on camera. So these are the various settings that you can set. And then down here, and by the way, I just discovered why I was getting that weird error whenever I went in to the terminal, and it would show like something about dev icons. It's because of this. Line mode dev icons. It really wasn't working well for me anyway, so I just commented it out, and now that error has completely disappeared. The rest of this file is dedicated to key bindings. So there are a few aliases that I have for quit and edit and so on and so forth. Oh, I do mean to show you one other thing. But there are other key bindings for several other things, and there's a lot that this can do. You can tag stuff, you can go in and do Vim key bindings, you can jump around and go through history, you can do stuff with tabs, you can do stuff with loading external programs, map capital D I set for delete, then you can map other various things, so Z would or equal will change the permissions of the file. Like I mentioned earlier, PP is paste, DD is cut, YY is copy. If you wanted to, you can also reverse things, so you can uncut something. You can't unpaste something, but you can uncut it if you wanted to. There's searching, so you can do console search. Sorting, so you can sort things out as you see fit. I like it the way it is there, but there you have it. You can enable or disable previews. I like the previews, but if you don't want them, you can completely turn them off. And just a whole bunch of other settings here. That's way more than I can go over in one video, but you know, that's the cool thing about Ranger, is that there's a lot to it, and it's a really quick and easy way to access your files without having to deal with a standard here. You know what, let me show you here. Without having to deal with a standard file manager, you know, moving the mouse around, clicking on stuff like an idiot. You know, really quick and easy. Jump to wherever you want to go without really having to do much effort at all. So the other file I wanted to show you here that you want to be familiar with is rifle.conf, and what this does is set whatever program it is that launches whenever you select something. So if you select URL, it'll launch Brave. If you select any other type of file, like a text file or a conf file, it will load NeoVim in my case. If you launch, let's see here, video or audio, or it will launch MPV. If you wanted to bring up a document, it brings up a special file for that. If you wanted to bring up images, it'll show a different application for that. So this is where you set what does what. You know, when I load up this, what will it do? When I do terminals, what terminal will it fall back to? In this case, I have Kitty on here, but if I had, say, URXVT, it will launch that. If I had Xterm, it would use that instead. I think that's about it. So, you know, this is just a really cool file that allows you to change the defaults essentially for whatever applications you use when you launch a particular file. And that's pretty much all I wanted to show you with Ranger. Again, the whole point of Ranger is to access your files quickly, to get to them without thinking. You have all the same things that you do with a graphical file manager: copy, paste, cut, delete, you can, move files that way, you can rename files, you can search for files, but because you have the Vim key bindings built in and other sensible key bindings included, it makes accessing things so much easier, so quickly, and it's just a better experience overall, at least in my opinion, than using a standard graphical file manager. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. If you liked it, click the like button, and if you really liked it and you want to support the channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.